Hello and welcome to Whitstable on the North Kent coast.
This fishing town is famous for its seafood. So here at the harbour, among the cockles and whelks and winkles and oysters, we've landed a fresh haul of 8 ambitious artists, all preparing for a day of competitive creativity.
So, who will do something brill? Who will flounder? Who will find the grit to create a pearl of a picture? Oh my God, it's another episode of Landscape Artist of the Year.
Thousands applied, but just 40 talented artists have been selected to take part in this year's competition.
I wish I could just go and plonk a chair in front of this and paint that.
Their challenge? To create landscape masterpieces from some of the UK's most demanding but inspiring views.
I like real life, and this is real life.
From bustling seaside towns, classical historic gardens, to regeneration miracles.
They'll probably take another 3 days to complete this.
Amateur or professional, the artists have just 4 hours to create their artworks.
A little stressed now.
For one winner, there's a fabulous prize. A prestigious £10,000 commission for the Manchester Art Gallery to create an artwork celebrating the natural beauty of the North West and its industrial heritage.
As always, the hopeful contenders will be working under the scrutiny of our eagle-eyed judges.
I'm not used to it, so I feel kind of fearful and also slightly anxious.
Yeah, I feel the same.
And in every heat, there are an additional 50 artists competing as wildcards, with just one going through to the next stage of the competition.
This is a work of art. Why do you submit this?
So prepare to unleash your inner art critic and join us as we discover the next Landscape Artist of the Year.
So you see painting as a scientific kind of thing?
Definitely just put the colour in the right place.
You're not vomiting up your sensibility or your soul. Well, I mean, if you do, let us know so we can get a camera on.
Fair enough.
Of today's catch of 8 competing artists, 6 are professional. KV Duong, Susan Bueller, Austin Cole, Violet Cato, Alex Chilvers, and Dawn Beckles.
I am a bit on edge, but I'm sure that I'll be fine. I'll work it out. Stay calm. Breathe.
Joining them are 2 amateur artists, Grace Edkins and Desmond Downs.
I just hope I don't make a complete mess, but I'm going to enjoy it, whatever happens. International humiliation, bring it on.
While the artists prepare for the day ahead, the judges examine the submission artworks, which until now they've only seen as online images.
Right, well, before we enter the white heat of competition, we can check out the art that has brought these artists here today, starting with a bit of action.
Yeah, it's so beautifully naive. I feel really sorry for the guy sitting by the sidelines.
I really enjoy the way that they delineate the players just with these tiny little lines. It's a bit like a little Lowry remade for the 21st century.
Now we have a serenity that I can only aspire to.
I'm amazed at how refined and gentle this is for a woodcut.
The sky is very beautifully thought through, the grasses in the front. It feels very sort of Japanese in its sensibility.
Yes. Now, where are we?
It feels like a scene from Apocalypse Now. It's sort of we're deep in the jungle and something's gone horribly wrong.
Where is everybody?
Gosh, yeah. And all this sort of mystical, swirling mist. It's a fantastical but believable landscape. And nice to have something big.
Yeah, yeah.
The monochrome gives this next one a real sense of drama, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's such a fantastic portrait of weather, and to do so much in so little.
It's almost animalistic. I love it when artists sort of imbue landscape with anthropomorphic qualities that bring it to life.
Right, a good honest bit of painting.
And perfect for today. I mean, the cutting down and the editing, leading the eye through the landscape is just very beautifully done.
You know, it is classic ugly beauty, and the way they've sort of cropped it is really clever.
Next, we have a watercolour, which, to my untutored eye, looks like it was painted quite quickly.
Yeah, it's very reduced. The language is childlike in parts, but they've managed to play around with our understanding of background, middle ground, and foreground. I'm intrigued by this.
And I really like the skew-whiff nature of it. It's got a lot of movement and sort of rhythm to it that I enjoy.
We get a landscape and a still life in one here.
Yeah, it's just got this amazing hot colour to it, but it's so effective. And I really love this device of having the landscape on this vase.
Yeah, I feel the landscape is in the vase. It's like it's contained. You get this sense of otherworldliness.
And finally, a landscape that I love, know very well, and the west coast of Ireland.
There really is weather going on. You get a real sense of the wind coming in off those waves as you're standing on the cliffs.
Seascapes is a tricky territory. It's very hard to make the foam on top of those waves believable, and they haven't done too much. It's a characterful little painting.
Well, we're near the sea. Our 8 artists will have to harbour ambitions of winning. That will be key.
Oh.
Artists, the time has come. Your challenge is about to begin.
In 4 hours' time, one of you will enjoy the sweet smell of success, as well as the aroma of raw fish. Good luck, everyone. Your time starts now. Today, we've placed our artists in the middle of Whitstable Harbour. It's busy, messy, and ever-changing. Alongside the commercial fishing industry, the harbour also houses an asphalt plant.
There are going to be a number of hurdles that all our artists are going to have to sort of climb over the course of the day. The first one is which view? There are so many views here, and it's a working harbour. It's dynamic. There's a lot that's going to be altering over the course of the day. The light, the water levels, people. So I'm looking for great detail, monumental forms, and a real sense of this working place.
There's a lot of things I do really like here. I mean, I love that industrial plant. It would make a painting, but not for me at the moment.
The light is great today. There'll be a lot of contrast in the light and dark, which will be really interesting to play with.
There's no real plan. I just see something that attracts me and actually focus on that and just show it organically.
Austin Cole, a retired civil servant, is a professional artist who grew up in Pembrokeshire. His submission, an etching of local landmark Stackpole Head, took an entire day to complete. But for today's challenge, Austin is working in pencil.
Austin, welcome to the chaos that is Whitstable. How are you going to tackle this?
I've been doing a lot of drawing during lockdown, especially with graphite pencil and charcoal. So at the moment, I'm just penciling in the basic outline, and my idea is to then use my graphite pencils to start working in the texture. And then I'll use my rubber to actually carve into that.
OK.
To see if I get areas of light and dark and texture.
I'm intrigued by your start, and I'm looking forward to seeing your organic process.
I hope it works.
While Austin's trying a different technique, amateur artist Grace Edkins is sticking to what she knows.
So I'm doing a woodcut today. I've done an ink wash of pink on my wood, just so I can see the drawing and the cuts when I make the marks.
Hailing from across the estuary in Essex, mum of 2 Grace submitted a woodcut, made using oil-based inks. It shows a view of Two Tree Island Nature Reserve on the Essex coast.
I love a woodcut, and your submission was a very fine example. Tell me how you made it.
I print a layer of colour, carve into the same block, and then print another layer of colour. Hopefully I might get 2 or 3 layers today.
Wow, so instead of completely finishing all your carving and then taking the print, you're sort of carving, printing.
Yeah. It's just a little bit more risky. Definitely time will be a challenge. The bit that normally takes me the longest is getting a composition and a drawing.
Oh, it looks like you've done that
So
already.
yeah, I've been really speedy.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited. Enjoy it.
Thank you.
Our 8 hopefuls aren't the only artists in Whitstable today. A host of plein-air landscape lovers have come along to the seaside and are settling in on the West Quay overlooking the beach.
This is my hands-free umbrella. My husband calls it my bondage gear because, ta-da!
Some have come prepared for the sunny weather, while for others, their must-have extra items are art supplies.
I've brought a lot of colour. I love working in colour, so I've brought a kind of smorgasbord.
I've brought my lino cutting tools. I have never done lino cutting outdoors before. This is going to be an adventure for me today.
I have my paintbrushes, water, some music, so you would see me dancing here and there. Pay me no mind, I'm not crazy. I'm just in the vibe.
And the seaside setting has inspired one artist to add a little local something to her artwork.
I go around beforehand and find things on the seashore that connects me with where I am. So I've got some funny seaweed here. I've got an oyster shell that I've cable tied to a bit of driftwood, and I'm going to make some fluid ink and pour that onto the canvas.
Today I'm looking forward to getting this finished in some kind of presentable form, and then a cold glass of beer somewhere between 4 and 6, I think.
I've taken some pictures and I've given myself an hour to like decide on the photos and see if I can actually sketch all the bits in. Fingers crossed. It's gonna work.
Studio artist Dawn Beckel's submission is a view of Malahorden in Sweden, depicted painted on a vase. Dawn competed on Landscape Artist of the Year in 2018. She admits that the pressure got to her then and she lost focus. This time, she's arrived with a plan.
So, Dawn, I thought that one of the hardest things today was going to be picking a view, and you've just picked 3.
Yeah, there are just so many different aspects that I found attractive in a way.
Yeah.
The whole location is difficult, but I felt that if I split it into 3, then I could see how I got on with the 3 and then decide whether or not I'm going to go bigger or continue working on the smaller pieces.
Oh, okay. But why is it a hard scene for you personally as an artist?
I've never painted a boat, and painting in plein air is new for me.
You've made some really, really good choices. I just love this green. It sort of really contrasts with that hot
pink. Yeah, I like the internal battle of the paint.
Okay. I'll let you in on a little secret, though.
Uh-oh.
Ty is quite allergic to boats. Unless they're painted really well.
Oh, no.
So if you're going to include a boat, make sure it's a good one.
A lot of my paintings include dinosaurs and footballers. I tend to paint things that are nostalgic to me, football being one of them. You never know, I might come across some dinosaurs and footballers today.
Alex Chilvers is a professional artist who lives and works in London. He paints scenes from his daily routine, often with the addition of his 2 favourite subjects. His submission, painted in gouache, shows a football match on Hackney Marshes.
Your submission, did you just happen to see a football game and think I'll paint that, or is football something you're into?
I am into football. My team's Grimsby Town.
Ah.
Not had the best season.
No. Sorry.
That's okay. We'll bounce back.
You're going to squeeze a footballer into this? Peeking out the bin?
Yeah, maybe.
Are you going to put any figures in?
I would like to,
Yeah, because there's a lot going on. There's a lot of people around.
It might be really nice, actually. I'm just going to have to get stuck into it and not mess around too much.
Well, I don't know what you're doing standing here talking to me. You should be painting.
With an hour of the competition almost up, the artists are coming to terms with the reality of their individual challenges.
Being indecisive is probably going to be my biggest problem. It could be a triptych, but I think I might just choose one.
I'm just working my way through the drawing as it hopefully organically works. And at the moment, it's beginning to look like a portrait of a boat.
And the strategy for today is really getting the drawing right to start with, because once I make a cut, I can't go back.
Here in Whitstable, 8 artists are 1 hour into the challenge to create an artwork based on this dynamic and chaotic harbour view. The seaside town is busy, full of tourists and fishing activity. But one artist is ignoring all of that, choosing his own distinct view.
I'm trying to get proportions in, because if that tower is not correct, it could look tiny, you know, and it's quite an imposing building.
Amateur artist Desmond Downs lives in a coastal village in Ireland. His submission shows the shoreline off Craigenbown in County Mayo. Today he's taking a very different approach to a seaside scene.
Desmond, what are you going to do? Are you going to paint what you see, or are you going to give it a twist?
It'll be naturalistic, but I will be using brushes to make marks that suggest stuff. I'm judging it more like physics, you know? I mean, it has to be cooler in the distance. It's a little bit hazy today. So it's those decisions I'm making, you know, when I'm going to be mixing colour, and not really emotional decisions, if you know what I mean.
That's interesting. So you see painting as a logical, scientific kind of thing?
Definitely, just put the colour in the right place.
You're not vomiting up your sensibility or your soul?
Well, not willingly. But
well, I mean, if you do, let us know so we can get a camera on.
Fair enough.
It's hard to describe my style because I often do something until I can't do it anymore, and then I start something totally different. But I'd say expressionistic. My submission was really quickly done, about half an hour, so I'm definitely going to do at least 2 paintings.
Professional artist Violet Cato grew up in a small mountain village in Austria. Her submission, painted in watercolour, is a loose, quickly captured view of the gardens behind her East London studio.
So, Violet, my thinking is that the toughest job you must have had this morning is deciding what the view was, because there are so many opportunities here.
Yeah, when I sat down, I thought, wow. I had looked this way and then this way. I took a photo of each one, and then I also looked at the composition of the photograph, and I thought I'd go with this one.
So why does taking a photograph actually help you make that decision?
Because I can see some of the lines, you know, so there's a few diagonals maybe in there somewhere.
And I noticed in your submission as well, it made me think a little bit about Kandinsky and the way in which he was trying to sort of get musicality in his strokes, because the strokes were quite free-flowing.
So it's a bit singy-songy, maybe. Maybe.
So there is a musicality and a rhythm to the paintings, I always feel.
I think so, yeah.
Well, I think you've picked a really interesting view. I love a bit of ugly beauty, so I look forward to seeing that rhythm and pace that you get in.
Ty, here we are in Whitstable, picturesque, famous seaside resort, but the bit we're in is not picturesque at all. I mean, this is the working bit.
It's chaotic, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's a lot of action and noise, and by the end of the day, it's going to be very different, and the boats are going to be floating, and it's going to be quite picturesque, I think. So yes, there's a lot to edit out. So I think they have to use their heads a bit.
So are you looking for paintings that reflect what we see? Because this is not a pretty view.
And you know, I hate boats, but these boats are okay.
You hate boats and you hate chewiness.
But of course, I do want this sense of busyness. I want the sense of the cranes working and West Whelks moving their whelks around. I do want that in the painting somehow. I want that to come across.
Right.
Otherwise, it's pointless that we're here.
Okay. Well, I look forward to the winner being one lone seagull in a blue sky.
With a very pretty boat drifting out into the ocean.
I don't actually paint literal scenes because I think a camera can do that, but obviously I'll have the scene to some sort of abstract form, and then the rest will be imagined.
Vietnamese-born engineer KV Duong is a professional artist who adds elements of his life story to his work. His submission, created with acrylic and ink, is based on the Reunification Palace in Ho Chi Minh City, reimagined within a semi-abstract, mysterious jungle landscape.
KV, tell me about your process. This looks very exciting. Have you been rolling paint on your work?
I have. So part of my process is abstract mark making. And I've just used this toilet roll with copper and brown paint to make these marks, just to give it a bit of drama on the scene.
And what's going to be the main focus of your composition?
I'm using that aggregate grinder cement machine.
Oh.
Because it hasn't been a straightforward year for everyone.
No.
So I'm trying to add some grit and drama to this.
Okay.
It's going to be instinct.
Okay, well, it's already looking very instinctively great.
Thank you.
I was very distressed and worried that I couldn't find a subject that really took me. And then this wonderful man here turned up with his whelk industry. You see, I like real life. And this is real life.
Susan Bueller is a professional artist from Beverley in Yorkshire. An experienced plein-air artist, her submission captures a scene on the River Hull, although she often chooses to paint in rather more exotic locations abroad.
Susan, I understand you spend a lot of your time painting in India.
Yes. Well, there's a fishing phenomena which moves along the coast of Kerala, where many, many boats gather, and it's wonderful subject, and I've painted that mainly.
We've given you kind of boats and shacks, they're slightly different. I thought this is made for you. I mean, neglected part of a harbour, and there was sort of these beautiful sort of muddy tones, and it's all here.
Yes.
But you're looking at something else.
Yes, well, I just loved seeing this real man in his dungarees, pulling on a rope and oiling up the whelks, and it just excited me.
No, I'm glad we could provide it. But in terms of the 4 hours, then you're very comfortable. I mean, you do this so often.
I should be, if it goes well, and I don't have to scrape it off and start again.
Well, look, lovely to meet you, and whelks is a great subject matter. I'll let you get on with it.
Thank you very much.
It's not only our pod artists who've competed to find an inspiring view. One wildcard seems to have gone the extra mile.
Ches, you're right down in the corner. I mean, did you run to get this spot? Were you elbowing people out the way?
Not quite, but politely.
Right.
I wanted to get the best vantage point with the most kind of drama. And...
I mean, this is a work of art. Why do you submit this? I mean, I'm not dissing your actual painting.
If you want me to, I will, yeah.
Which is tremendous.
Trying to capture the perspective and depth of the scene and the joy and the sun and the life of the day.
There's a lovely, lovely range of work, and I think, as always, you've got a couple of very wild cards that are facing totally different directions. That interests me, the kind of extra wild
I
card.
love the variety, actually. It makes it harder to pick a winner, obviously.
Yeah.
But then we've got the variety of media.
Yeah.
I've seen pastel.
There's a couple of printmakers. And then there's quite a few people here using collage as well.
And what I also really like is that some of them have really embraced the scale of the sky to the sea. And of course, that's what makes this part of the world so special. There's such a big sky.
Yeah, it's big sky country. It's good.
Fantastic.
Over in the harbour, our 8 artists are now well on their way, each capturing their particular take of this bustling, challenging scene.
Trying to put into the drawing some more of the harbour wall, and tide's coming in, so the composition is changing.
I thought I'd just start the second one. I'll put this one in landscape, and I'll got a bit more water in, so it's quite different.
Tide will be in, so I'm leaving enough room so I have a bit of water, and there's a nice splash of red on the bottom with the boat. That's what I'm thinking now. It could change.
Eight artists have been challenged to paint Whitstable Harbour. It's a busy working environment whose history goes back over 500 years. But they have considerably less time, with 2 hours of the competition already gone.
I'm a little conscious of how much time I've got left now, so I need to start thinking about editing the painting. I really want to get some movement of people in there.
I thought I was going to be starting a bigger one, but then I decided that I would just stick with the smaller ones and use what I've already done and just build on it. So I'm just hoping I don't overwork it.
The judges have been keeping their beady eye on the artist's progress all morning. It's not only halfway through the competition, it's halfway through a blistering hot summer day. Wonderful. How is everybody doing?
Well, there's a lot of stuff, and I think the artists are still battling with that in a sense.
OK, now Susan has gone for a very narrow choice of subject.
Yes, so she's going to put the characters in,
really?
moving the whelks. And at the moment, I love that sort of painful, poignant emptiness that the painting has. So I'm not sure what's going to happen when figures get introduced.
It is a bit worrying that if she brings the figure in, it will tip into a kind of twee painting. So she's got the right idea. I just hope she does it well.
Now, with Alex, what you see is what you get.
Yeah, it feels very undone, as if he's sort of eliminated a lot of noise and activity. I worry for him that it might be too quiet.
I love what Alex has got there. He's absolutely caught the heat of the day. So I think now the stage has been set, we'll get something happening. But what's there, I think, is very beautifully stated.
Dawn. Now, I can't put together what Dawn is up to. You tell me.
I love what Dawn's up to, and she's got it absolutely spot on. She's putting these little sort of perfections together. I just hope that we have all three of them at the end, rather than her picking just one.
I think she's sort of trying to tell a story of the different characteristics of that view. So there's all this kind of fantastically hot colour there. And yet it's also very Whitstable, and so I think it's a very successful combination.
Well, Desmond, we always enjoy it when landscape includes something industrial, don't we?
He's taken something gritty, ugly and urban, and he's elevated it almost to icon status. It's like looking at a religious painting of a Romanesque church. And I think the colour tones that he's got at the moment only add to that.
It works beautifully, and the way it's drawn and the way it sits in his composition is perfect. I want that, and I want it finished, but I do want the sense of the harbour at the end of the day, yeah.
Now, Grace is really gentle colours, almost sort of English pastoral feel to it. What do you feel?
Yeah, the palette is very sort of pastel, a bit like Grace. But as always with printmaking, I find it impossible to judge until the very end.
A print like that sort of lives off the colour choices, and they just feel a little bit expected.
Right, well, you're going to have to judge by the end of the day. How do you feel about the competition so far?
I think the artists are still processing what's in front of them. I just think they need to get on. I think a few of them are a bit slow.
Whitstable has always provided locals and visitors with mouth-wateringly fresh seafood. Famous for its native oysters since Roman times, by the 1800s, Whitstable was supplying Billingsgate Market with 80 million oysters every year.
There's so many reasons why oysters are loved, because they taste good, they're good for you, and they're good for the environment.
However, the oyster industry became a victim of its own success. And after years of overfishing, it was almost dead in the water.
Native oyster, they were dredged by a sailing boat offshore. You can't eat them in the summer because they're reproducing. You can only eat them with the Munson and R in it.
But a new generation of fishermen had a solution for the industry, making oysters available all year round. The introduction of farmed rock oysters.
The ones we farm, they've got an extra set of chromosomes, which means they're sterile. They don't reproduce at all, so they're a consistent product all the year round. The native oyster tends to have a firmer texture. It's got a really minerally taste, so it's quite a strong taste. It's almost metallic, whereas the rock oysters is easier to eat. It's still got a minerally taste, but not that really sharp zinc tang almost. It's probably the difference between eating chicken or grouse. The good thing with growing oysters like this is, unlike land resources, we've still got quite a lot of ground, if we wanted to expand to meet the need for sustainable products in the UK. I think people like to come, especially to seaside places like Whitstable, and they can see the oysters being grown here. They can eat them on the beach just over there. There's not a lot of air miles in that.
Despite the appeal of a dip in the sea, our wildcard artists remain focused. In defiance of the scorching summer weather, their creative juices are flowing, producing a variety of colourful pieces using different techniques.
It's been such a fun day. We've absolutely loved it.
We've all had lobster and chips for lunch, presumably.
So what is it about the print that's so appealing to you?
For me, it's about using different colour combinations in order to convey what I'm seeing.
Yeah, and these colours are fantastic. So it's just like second nature bringing your studio to Whitstable.
Absolutely. I mean, usually I've got screaming children around me, so in actual fact, this is a bit less pressure today.
Yeah, I know that one.
Andre, tell me a bit about your background.
Right. Well, I live in London, but I was born in Moldova, and I was professionally trained.
You put the paint on quite thickly. Is that something that would have come out of your traditional training?
Yeah, I've been trained in the alla prima technique.
Yeah. Anyway, look, you've done a fantastic scene. Thank you for bringing a bit of Moldovan art to Whitstable.
Thank you ever so much.
Which piece of wildcard art has captured the judge's eye?
I found someone I quite like, and she's produced quite a naive painting with a long sweep.
There's a young artist who's done sort of the houses here, but quite brightly coloured on the right side of sweet.
I really take him with the woman who's like camped on the floor and she's made a print, and I think that colour combination is just sizzling like today.
I think it works well. Good balance, good potential pod liver.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, wow, we found ourselves a nice wild card.
Yeah.
Hello. You're our wild card winner today. Congratulations. My pleasure. Yes, well done. We just absolutely love the way you use colour and that you were very specific in your choice. You were very editorial. Well done.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
No, you're welcome.
I feel absolutely amazing to be the wild card winner. It's absolutely incredible. It's such a privilege. I thought, push the boat out, excuse the pun, go for 3 colours, really just go for it. So I'm really pleased with what I've managed to produce today.
Katie Thomas, an art teacher from Kent, would join a pool of wildcard winners from all the heats, one of whom will be selected for a place in the semi-final.
Over in the Harbour, our 8 artists are in their final hour of the competition.
Violet, how many paintings have you done?
That's my third one.
Your third one?
Yeah.
I mean, you have time to do a fourth. Do you think you might get onto another one?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
While some artists create multiple works, for others it's all about ensuring the crucial elements are all there.
You were our artist that we were going to rely upon for good water.
There's about 6,000 gallons there, really.
Okay, but you're not slowly adding more water as the tide comes in?
No, if I kept changing, it would never finish.
Okay.
The figures were the main interest, but they've gone. And I've tried to put the figure in from the photograph. I think he'll do.
I don't think I've got time to consider a dinosaur or a footballer, so I think I'm just gonna stick with people that are here.
So at the moment it's a bit of a gamble. I'll never really know how the print will look until the black layer is on. So fingers crossed.
Here at Whitstable Harbour in Kent, 8 artists are nearing the end of their landscape challenge. And even at this stage, important decisions are crucial to the success of their artworks.
I'm doing the finishing touches, which is the fun part. This knife is part of my mark-making process to add some texture and some tension.
A little stressed now. There's not a lot of time left, and I hate the boat.
I'm just going to do a bit of detail on these ropes in front of me. At the moment they look a bit like worms, so I'll just try and turn them into ropes.
Artists, It's time for those last-minute dabs. You have 5 minutes left.
Great. Oh.
Very scary moment. This is it, the final layer.
Artists, your time is up.
Please put down your equipment and step away from your easels.
I've quite enjoyed the challenge, and I will take away from this event a sense of pride that I actually did it.
While the artist can finally chill out, the judges are tasked with reducing them down to a short list of 3.
It's been an interesting day seeing the artists deal with what was a really busy, complicated scene. And I think Austin did rather well framing his picture. It's a very nice harbour scene, but it's a pity. I know he had to switch mediums, but I don't get that texture and that organic feel from his print.
I find the white super distracting. It really is a drawing of 3/3.
Yeah, exactly.
And I really like the top third. I'm not so sure about the rest of it.
Susan struggled because there were so many things that interested her. I love how true to life it is. I mean, she put the wheelie bins in and they look good.
My concern is the finish, that the roofs, this very powerful shape, have gone over the edge, so there's no tension there. The figures are a bit large, so there's a few elements that somebody of her skill and experience should have sort of tightened up a bit.
Violet got closer to giving us something that we can actually recognise as being here, but it hasn't got that sort of intensity of paint that I was really hoping we'd get.
I like the fact that Violet chose the fence to be the star and then, like, the plant behind it. So this is the kind of alternative view of the seaside, but it's not as dense as the submission.
I love this by Alex. It's got kind of brutal honesty to it, and it's got an immense sense of space and light, and I like that balance.
I think it's incredibly well put together. I'm not sure, is it painterly enough?
I love this hot, intense trio from Dawn. All the industry and the harbour sits so well against those colours. I wouldn't think that something this small could have much effect, but it is effective.
Each little bit is like a fragment of a dream, and that was kind of an interesting way to deal with this landscape.
Desmond's given us a matter-of-fact view, and it does sort of glow. And, you know, I'm a sucker for those grey, greeny, sort of rusty type of buildings.
Desmond knows how to paint. I just wanted to see, you know, the craziness of the harbour scene. But having said that, you know, it's something I could look at for a long time.
I'm sort of conflicted with KV. I think there's so many different processes here. And actually, I just wonder whether he needs to sort of pull back a bit more.
He said that he would give it his own particular perspective, and so it's a little bit of Vietnam in Whitstable. You know, he chose a sort of fairly drab little corner and brought it to life.
I love Grace's woodcut. I mean, she started off very light. I thought those light blues and greys, I didn't know where they were going. And actually, what she's ended up with here, I can smell the briny tang of the harbour.
I love the blue of her sky. It feels like a sort of literal version of what's above it. I just don't like the boat. I think this would be stronger without the boat. She's got those very successful nets in the foreground, which are gorgeous. And I just think I need a bit more breathing space between that and the building behind.
So which 3 artworks will make the judges' shortlist?
We're rather taken with these 3.
Yeah. This I'm kind of really intrigued by.
But this is a banker, isn't it?
Yeah.
Artists, as you know, only 3 of you can be shortlisted for consideration as today's winner. And the judges have made their choice.
The first artist on the shortlist is Alex Chilvers.
The second artist is Dawn Beckles.
Oh, my God.
The third artist is Desmond Downs.
commiserations to the rest of you. You are clearly all extremely talented, and I do hope you've enjoyed today as much as we have. So thank you very much indeed.
I don't feel too disappointed. I'm really pleased with what I did, and I've learnt that I can do a print much quicker than I think I can.
Taking into account the artist's submission works, the judges must now make their final decision.
Well, it's been a glorious day. Our artists have toiled in the heat, and they've produced some fine art.
Yeah, and all so different, actually. They've stayed pretty consistent with their own distinct styles, or at least their palettes.
It's been an enormously busy harbour, coming and going activity. One thing that strikes me is the absence of people in the paintings.
And I did say earlier that I hoped we would have an artist who caught that, but I think they've caught other aspects of today.
Well, let's look at Alex. You admired the naivety of his Hackney Marshes football scene. A similar kind of style today.
There is a naive, undone style, but yet there is such a sophistication in his compositional choices. In both cases, he does something very clever at the bottom of the paintings. I really love the painting today. I like it more than the submission.
If you look at the light in both the submission and today's painting, you realize it looks simple, but actually it's very difficult. That sort of sheer heat of the day that he's caught today. So in that sort of rather sort of a childlike approach is a lot of sophistication.
Dawn gave us the spaceship vase. Do you detect any extraterrestrial life in today's work?
Well, I just love the way that she's able to wield these neon colours with such grace. I mean, it's a very compelling sky with that pink in it. She really caught the heat of the day, the activity.
Definitely with her submission, there's something otherworldly going on. And each separate section that she painted today had a similar kind of feel. And as soon as she put them together with the horizon, it broke out of that.
I love the colour palettes that she uses, and the fact that she came to this idea of producing these 3 little blocks so early on in the morning. It was super clever.
Desmond, it seems to me, has made the ugly quite beautiful today.
You can see by his submission, he knows how to construct a painting, he understands about light, he's a great colorist, and today he's found a way of giving us this ugly building and making it rather sublime.
I really like the way everything feels accurate, but it's also undone. There's a brevity to the way that the marks are put down, which I think makes them just very kind of resplendent paintings.
Well, given how different each is from the other, and you like all of them, is it going to be difficult to make a decision?
It's always difficult to make a choice because ultimately, when you get to this stage, you're saying goodbye to artists that are very, very good, that you're intrigued by and excited by and energized by.
OK, well, it's decision time.
Alex, Dawn, Desmond, you've all clearly impressed the judges today. But, as you know, there can only be one winner.
The artist who will be going through to the semi-final is... Desmond Downs.
Absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. I was not expecting this. I came to do it just for the fun, really, you know, but this is fantastic.
Well done, Desmond. Well done. Well done, the others.
Desmond is a great winner. He knows how to build a painting that is totally believable, and it's all suggested in a very painterly way that makes the viewing experience exciting. So I can't wait to see what he does in the semi-final.
Now I'm really scared. Next challenge, that's going to be tough. But I'm looking forward to it. Bring it on.